Hello, everybody. Welcome to season three, episode one of Where's the Line, where we explore the gray areas of life. My name is Jane, and I am with my wonderful co-host, Sabrina. Sabrina, how are you? It's a new year, new us. How are you doing? How was your holiday season?
Yes, hello, Jane. I cannot believe we are in 2024 and we are in season three.
I
I
know.
pinch us, right? Yeah, it is wild. So happy to be here with you for another season. My holiday was great. I actually didn't go home to Germany, which it
Mm.
was different. I spent it with friends, but very grateful to have such a great community in Minnesota. And we did a lot of cooking. I made my spätzle again, which I know you've had, and
Ooh.
some of our listeners might have had that. And yeah, it was really relaxing. How about you? You had some exciting travels.
I did. And I also want to give a shout out to your Spätzle because for people who have not had it, you're really missing out. Um, Mine was good. We drove to Cleveland. We brought our dog Oreo, Miss Oreo. Also, if people have not met Miss Oreo, again, you're missing out. She's my girl. She and myself and Kyle, we drove to Cleveland to spend time with Kyle's family for Christmas. And then right after Christmas, we had quite the spontaneous trip to Japan. It was our second time in Japan. Last time when we went, we were in Tokyo only, but this time we got to spend 2 days in Tokyo, but also 2 days in Kyoto, which was just incredible and it was beautiful. We also got to see Japan more in the wintertime, which again, we've never really done previously. So that was awesome. But then what's crazy, Sabrina, is I cannot believe we flew home. The day after we flew home, there was like a 7.8 earthquake in Japan. There was also a crash at the airport and
I
people
actually,
died.
yeah.
It was crazy.
I just, now that you say that, someone posted that on Instagram and I didn't even put the two and two together that you were just in Japan.
It was literally
Whoa.
the day after. And Kyle and I were like, thank God. Because I have a couple other friends who were in Japan as well. And there was one person who like couldn't make it out on the day following. And they didn't get out until like now, which is we're recording a couple days after New Year's. So
Wow,
yeah,
that
it
is so
was crazy.
scary.
But it was a wonderful trip. Thank you for asking.
How cold
Um
does it get in Japan, by the way, in winter? When you...
so I think it gets colder and I think it depends on the city that you're in. It didn't snow or anything, but when we went, it was maybe in the low 50s, 40s.
Hmm.
It wasn't that bad, but I do know there are like definitely some cities where like it snows a lot and it's like a whole
Mm.
vibe. So
Right.
um also I'm now become the biggest supporter of people traveling to Japan because the Japanese yen is not as expensive at the moment, and so it's the exchange
Oh.
rates are pretty good if anybody wants to travel to a beautiful country like Japan.
Oh, it is high on my list, and you inspired me. So maybe next year or this year, sorry, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm glad you're home safe and sound.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like we said, we are in season three now, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our incredible listeners. Our area of guests, phenomenal stories have been shared, inspiring to say the least. And yeah, I think the word of today is just once again gratitude.
Hmm.
And I know we had that big milestone of hitting 1,000 downloads recently, which is
Yes.
huge. As of January 5th, that we're recording today, we are at 1,100. But honestly, more so than just the numbers. Like the numbers are one thing, but what's really more meaningful to Jane, you and I, right, is the qualitative feedback, is the anecdotes,
Hmm.
the testimonials, people coming up to us and sharing how something from the pod resonated or helped them, and we continue to receive that, and just that really what makes us do this. That's what
Hmm.
motivates us, and at least for me, I don't want to speak for you, but that's my purpose, and just continuing to bring exciting and inspiring conversations to everyone. So. Thank you to those that have shared. We've also received some candid feedback on how we can improve.
Hmm.
It's nice to know what we're doing well, but Jane and I are both always looking to improve, and it's also good to have that honest and candid feedback. So you're gonna see hopefully some more of these areas of improvement today and in the episodes to come. But yeah, just like a big thank you once again to all of our listeners. And you're in for a hot and spicy season. I think maybe we're biased,
Yes.
but you tell us. We're excited to hear. And yeah, as always, continue to rate, review, subscribe. Thank you to those that have already. This is a big thing of how Apple sort of amplifies and spreads the podcasts. And you all know algorithms, they tend to work in your favor when you just get those reviews. So really,
Hmm.
really grateful if you could give us a 5 star if you like the pod. And again, thank you to those that already have.
Yeah, this is very important for us. And like Sabrina mentioned, of course, we appreciate all the positive feedback, which we've received so much love from you all. But at the same time, any opportunities for improvement, we also welcome. And speaking of opportunities for improvement, one of the feedbacks that we got from our friends is that we interview a lot of guests, and we're so lucky to have our guests on our podcast. But a lot of times when we do have guests on the show, we tend to spend a lot of time asking them questions, getting to know them, and really sharing their perspective on our platform. And what we oftentimes miss out on is being able to share our views, our perspectives, and really just who we are. So, to help incorporate some of that into today's episode, it is an opener and we don't have a guest. So it's just the two of us.
Mhm.
And we hope to share a little bit more about ourselves in this season opener. So, as an idea, Sabrina, here's my little idea. 10 things that are in and out in 2024. So 10 things that are in this year, 10 things that are out. And then we'll go to 5 skills we want to learn because we're not supporting New Year's resolutions anymore. Okay. Like that's not the hot thing anymore. We're doing 5 skills we're going to learn in 2024. And then last but not least, one nonprofit we will either donate our time or donate our money to so that the rest of our friends and family and our listeners can help these organizations.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think about that?
I love that so much. Big fan. And yeah, look forward to hearing your ins and outs.
I wrote mine on a little well, hold on. I need to share this with you. For our audience who are listening, I am a big planner gal. And every single year I get a new planner and it's how I organize my life. I've always had those like those full size paper size planners, but they're
Mhm.
massive and they're like good when you're just at home. But now that I'm traveling a lot more, now that I am going back to the office, it's been quite difficult to lug a full-blown textbook around. So I
Yeah.
bought this little size for 2024 and it's super cute because it has, well, I don't know if you can see Sabrina, but it has like little flower
Yeah.
images and
Mhm.
different month has different themes. I highly recommend. And I'm happy to start with my 10 ins.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So, number one, better evening skincare routine.
That's in.
That's in.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
in.
Well, you just were in Japan, right? And you might have.
Yes, I went ham when I was in Japan. Um for all the girlies out there. Actually, you know what? Men too, right? We don't discriminate here. But for anybody who is at all interested in skincare, you must look at Asian skincare. Like they're just top notch, the best things out there. They're always researching new things. And apparently, well, I'm going to share this as my number two, which is sunscreen is in.
Mm.
And because of this Japan trip, I was doing research. Apparently, the FDA has not approved new formulas of sunscreen for many years. And so when you're buying sunscreen in the United States, they tend to look alike, they tend to smell alike, and they're very similar. But then when you go to Asia, a lot of sunscreens are like completely different formula, very like new innovation and technology.
Mm.
So I guess that is my number two. It's kind of similar to number one, but sunscreen is my number two item.
Very important. I'm here for it.
Also, sunscreen apparently is one of the best things to help anti-aging. So, I'm now in my 30s. So I can't be joking around anymore, okay? Like I can't be tanning. Who's doing
Yeah.
that? It's all about sunscreen.
All right. Well, I'll ask you again in a month to see if there's any notable progress you can report on.
I'm gonna be pretty upset if there's no progress.
Yeah,
Okay, so
recall.
yeah, yeah. My third one, which I also hope will help with my skin. Clearly, I'm very sensitive lately about my skin, as you can see. But drinking water before coffee in the morning.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's a thing. A lot of people will start with coffee and fine, do whatever you need to like survive.
Mhm.
But apparently, well, of course you're dehydrated because, you're not drinking water overnight. But apparently, if you drink water, the first thing you do, you like chug in the middle, in the first thing morning.
Mhm.
Apparently, that's really, really good for your health. So, again, can't be joking around anymore. I'm in my 30s. So, gonna start drinking water before my coffee.
Well, and that's great also, Jane, because we're going to have a wellness episode in season 3. So I
Hmm.
can't wait for you to expand on your morning routines.
Yes. All right, number 4. Teas are back in.
What's
Okay.
that?
Tea, drinking tea.
Oh, teas. Like teas.
No, just teasing.
Teasing.
No, teas. Because, okay, one, we're recording in the winter, so it's cozy season. So I'm very like in that mindset. But
Hmm.
two, as a Chinese American, like I need to represent tea. Okay. Because
Yeah.
if I'm not representing teas, who's
Yeah.
out there representing it? So I
Right.
was a big tea drinker, and then last couple years I just really haven't. And then I got called out by my parents when they came to Chicago and saw all my old tea, dried up tea, and they called me out. So
Mm.
tea is back in.
Okay.
Next one is capsule wardrobe. This
Oh.
one's gonna be a tough one. For folks who don't know what a capsule wardrobe is, it's essentially clothing that can kind of mix and match with each other, and they're timeless. They're not, they're not super flowery, stripy, like they're just kind of like same vibes, like clean vibes, so that you don't have to own a billion things for you to figure out what you want to wear. And then
Hmm.
in the morning, you kind of just pick whatever and it should match. I am gonna make my way towards a capsule wardrobe. Don't
Hmm.
check in on me on this. I feel like this is gonna like take it's a lifelong journey.
Okay.
But capsule wardrobe is in. My number 6, giving experiences as gifts.
Oh, yep, yep. Okay.
I am I'm very much in a decluttering mood as of late. And I just realized, like, especially after Christmas, I realized how many random little things, like literal things that we give to each other. And
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, did I really need that? Like, would I have enjoyed an experience for the exact same price? Yes. And my sister-in-law, she requested experiences for her kids. So we were buying like little Lego land, tickets for them. And the kids were like not as excited when they saw the tickets because, it was not a tangible gift, but I'm
Yeah, sure.
hoping that by the time they get there, they'll enjoy that experience. So for me, giving experiences as gifts is in this year.
Love it. As a minimalist myself, I support this.
I love that. I have never achieved minimalism myself. I'm very much a hoarder. Put me on the show hoarder. I'll see you guys there. All right, number 7, a clean house, a clean mind. Going
Oh,
back to decluttering,
yes.
this is easier said than done, but my parents have always taught me that if you have a clean home, if you have a clean environment, you're more likely to focus, you're more likely to be less stressed out and anxious and just like, like nervous and flustered, which I
Yep.
do believe. And I think a lot of that needs to start with decluttering. All right, my number 8, dinner parties over dining out. Um, for friends who are in
Mhm.
Chicago, you all know I just went through an insane kitchen renovation. It was very HGTV. It's not as glamorous, but it did turn out very beautiful. And we spent a lot of money on it. And so now I'm like, okay, let's use this kitchen and also save a little money. So instead of dining out, we're probably just going to invite people over for dinners and brunches and host
Mm.
parties and really just kind of use the space that we have. So dinner parties over dining out is
Oh,
in.
I wish I was in Chicago more
You
often.
should come more often.
Mhm.
Um, Now my number nine, tennis slash pickleball.
Oh no, you're jumping on the train.
I am one of those, well, you can't even say that it's an old person sport anymore because
Yeah.
pickleball is very in. And if
Hmm.
anything, I'm late to the party. I have been talking about pickleball for over a year now. In fact, I have purchased a pickleball set, but I have
Oh,
never taken it out of its packaging. Speaking of declutter, maybe if I'm not touching it for another year, they need to go. But I'm trying to get into tennis, trying to get
mhm.
into pickleball. I have forced myself to go to Kat, who is one of our guests this season. I'm gonna go to
Mm.
Kat because apparently she is a tennis instructor on the side. So
Yeah, she knows her stuff.
yes, so I'm gonna get into that.
Oh,
And
awesome.
then last but not least, game nights are back in.
Game
I
nights.
am a
Yes.
big board game, card game girly. Those are my top 10.
Speaking of games related here, puzzles for me is back in. You know, in the
Ooh.
pandemic, everyone got their puzzles and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I am back on the train. Got some nice, I have like a Lake Tahoe one coming up and a skiing one. So
All
diving into
right.
that.
Are you good at puzzles?
Yeah,
Like, do you have the patience for
I'm very
puzzles?
good.
Okay, okay, okay. All right, all right.
No, just because I've done it so much and I love the just sitting there and having a podcast on the side.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. All right. Glass bottles are back in or are
Like
in.
literal glass bottles, or is this like a company?
Yeah,
Oh,
not
okay.
we're not sponsored, unfortunately, by anyone, but if anyone wants to sponsor us, I know there's the Stanley people out there, there's the Hydro
Yes.
Flask people out there, which that's great. I was looking into plastic versus glass, and it's quite staggering. So,
Mm.
I investigated some of my own plastic bottles, and the stuff that I found, it's really not great. Like some of them were even
Mm.
having like mold on the bottom,
Oh, whoa.
which I know. So everyone check their plastic bottles and wash them regularly, obviously. But I did that, and despite I had some mold on the bottom. So then now I'm fully committed to glass bottles only.
Interesting. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, uh, unfortunately I got influenced and I did get a Stanley. So now I'm questioning that decision.
I mean, I think Stanley's, you're fine with that. Just wash them regularly. But
Yeah.
there's like really just average plastic ones that I
Yeah.
had. So and I think so I have which relates to the next one, Soda Stream. Love
Mm.
me some Soda Stream, but those were actually some of the bottles that I was talking about. So, but you can still upgrade to like a nicer Soda Stream.
Hmm.
And I don't know. To me, it's like a great way to save money instead of buying all the La Croix of the world and carrying that. So Soda Stream is also in.
All right. Sounds good.
And then stuffed animals are in. So
Okay.
given yeah, I mean, I'm single and sometimes you just want to cuddle and snuggle. And I was
Yes.
told stuffed animals and some of them are actually weighted, like weighted blankets.
Yeah.
So I'm investing in, I already bought it, a like stuffed animal. So,
I cannot wait. Okay, so that's gonna be one of the things I'm gonna check in on is your weighted stuffed animal. But you know what? That's actually a thing. And to even add on to that, I have had this was a gift. Okay, I did not buy this for myself, but
Mhm.
apparently you can also buy ones that you can microwave so that they stay warm in the winter,
Oh, that's
which
cool.
it was very jarring to see a stuffed animal, a dog in the microwave. but if you can get over that, there are those as well.
That reminds me of the woman. Well, this is bad, but you know how the woman put her cat in the microwave, which is a super sad story, and then sued the microwave company for not explicitly stating that you can't put cats in a microwave, and she won millions of dollars. This is the thing.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, God bless America. What is going on in this country? Yeah. So, and honestly, when you just said that, I remember this reminded me. But yeah, but I will look into the microwavable stuffed animals too. Um, okay. Also, Breaking Bad is back in. I'm rewatching it from season one. It's just such a good show. Have you seen it?
I I've started, I have seen, see, I don't remember. I've definitely seen season one. And
Okay.
then I started season two. And was there a character named Jane in season two? She was one of the
That's
girlies. She was like the
right.
friend or something.
There indeed was.
And like spoiler, I guess not even spoiler. This is such an old show, but like doesn't she die at some point, right? It was like really
Yeah,
sad, I
very
think.
tragic. Yeah.
And after that, I was like, I guess it's over for me. So I literally
That's right.
after that, but every single person I ever talked to says it's like the best show, if not like top three. So
Yeah.
I need to get back on it.
Oh, so good. And then I have three more here. So egg freezing is in. I'm freezing my eggs in
Yeah.
January, so I'm very excited for that. Well, excited slash nervous, I should say. But hey, people have said once you've done it, it's just such a good feeling. You don't have to
Hmm.
worry about it. Just insurance policy. So
Yeah. Let me know how that goes.
hippo roped sandals. So
Okay.
yeah, the brand Hippo, they're really cool and they're also giving back to the environment. So with every
Mm.
Hippo sandal sold, you are actually helping 5 trees to get planted. So yeah, they're against deforestation and I am actually buying them because I'm going on a wildlife conservation trip in March and you need sort of water shoes. And so they recommended these sandals. So they're very robust.
Yeah, I am Googling them at the moment, and
Mhm.
they're actually quite fashionable.
And then yeah, I guess my this is going to be my year of spontaneous yeses. So
Mm.
just wanting to say yes to some things that may be outside of my comfort zone. For instance, there is a fight night at Rumble on Friday,
Hmm.
and my instant reaction was like, no, I'm not doing fights. I don't like that. But then I learned more that it's actually not fighting against each other. It's just you are having a personal judge that watches you while you are instructed to do certain combinations
Hmm.
on the bag. And so I said yes. So, and thanks to my friend, or kudos to my friend Paige, who was like, no, we should do this.
I'm
Those were
excited.
mine.
Awesome. Are we ready for our outs?
Yeah, let's get rid of stuff.
I feel like when we were both, for our listeners, when we're both like talking through what we wanted to do for this episode, we both realized our outs are way more serious than our ins,
Yeah.
which, maybe that's good. We're working on ourselves.
Mm,
But my first out is perfectionism. It's a
mm,
big task. Um,
mm,
but it, I feel like, and we'll talk about this in the rest of the season, particularly in the wellness one, but I'm like very concerned about how things turn out. I'm often very worried about like results and how people perceive it, how people perceive me. And so I'm very caught up in perfectionism. And oftentimes I forget about like the journey of getting there or how I've grown. And even if things fail, like I don't know, I really struggle with that. So perfectionism is something that I really need to work on. I also hope that by working on perfectionism, that I similar to what you're saying, like I end up saying yes to more things. I end up willing to try things more because I'm not afraid to fail. I find that a lot of times I work on whether it's like something I take on at work or something I take on like as a hobby. A lot of
mhm.
times because I'm so afraid that it's going to turn out poorly, I end up quitting it midway or I
Yeah.
stop or I say no because I'm just not willing to see the result for what it is. And I think a lot of that goes back to perfectionism for me.
I that clearly resonates with me because that's exactly why I didn't want to say yes to the fight night because I was like, oh, I'm not perfect at Rumble and I don't want people to
Mm-hmm.
see me in like a fragile state, judging me where I'm not perfect. So Jane, like you're not alone. But I think you're working on yourself so well, and I think that's a great goal, and I'm also on board with that for myself. So
Yes. Number two. All right, this one's a little less serious, but I feel like there's a deeper meaning under.
Mhm.
But audiobooks more than 16 hours. It's very specific.
No.
But okay, here's the thing. I'm a big audiobook listener because I love to like walk my dog and listen to a book, right? I would love to one day become a physical book reader, but like that's just not who I am, at least not right now. Um, the thing is, I always aspire to listen to books like Game of Thrones, but like you sign up for 30 hours of a freaking book. All right, number three. Subscription boxes are out this year.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Preach.
don't tempt me with subscription boxes anymore.
No. And they're
I
sneaky. They like creep up on you.
They do, and you always forget that you're now paying another freaking year of the
Yeah.
subscription.
That's why Rocket Money, again, we're not sponsored, but Rocket Money helps with
Rocket
tracking.
Money, if you want to sponsor us, let us know.
Yeah, seriously.
Um,
Help me.
I hope that by removing subscription boxes, that can help with my declutter. Because a lot of this stuff are just like perfumes, little this and that's, and little
Mm.
body washes. Like, do I need that? No. All right. So that's my number three. And then my number four is finding excuses to not work out. That is out. No more
Out.
excuses.
Okay, yes.
Um, I've been very good. I actually just came back from Rumble this morning. You always inspire me.
Ooh.
Here's the update. I have officially hit my 10 classes earlier this week,
Oh my
and
God,
I'm on my
Jane.
way to 20.
Yes. Love that.
All right, on that note, my number five is weighing myself too frequently.
Mm.
That really gets me, and part of it is perfectionism. A lot of times I find myself, I'm like, oh, okay, I want to lose weight. Okay, like I feel like every woman is trying to lose weight, which is that's a problem in and of itself.
Mhm.
But I go work out, I eat healthy, I do this like sprint of quote unquote wellness or healthiness, and then find myself literally weighing myself every single day, and then I get annoyed and frustrated when it's either not moving or if it's like going up on a certain day. Like maybe I just
Mhm.
ate a lot yesterday, or maybe I just drank a lot of water,
Yeah.
or maybe it's, I don't know, a time of the month where like maybe I'm more bloated than other days. So,
Yeah.
like,
Or Rumble, we build muscle. You build muscle. It's heavier than
yes. And it just really takes me into a whole loop and I'm just off the deep end. So I'm trying not to weigh myself too frequently. Like I want to weigh myself to see progress or to like be
Mhm.
able to track things, but then not to be too bothered because I need
Yeah.
to check every day. All right, my next one, not taking DTO/PTO is out. I am gonna take my DTO.
All
Oh,
year.
I am like the worst at this. I mean, I'm very lucky. My company gives a lot of like company holidays and stuff like that, and sometimes even summer Fridays. So, like, I'm very lucky to begin with. And I think a lot of times I reflect on that and then I'm like, oh, well, I shouldn't take vacation because they're already so generous with what they give me. And then my husband's like, well, no, you like earned this. Like, this is a part of your package. Why are you not using this? Plus, other people are taking 2-week vacations and going to Australia, New Zealand, all these cool places. And you're finding excuses to work more, which sometimes, like, that makes sense.
Mhm.
But sometimes I need to just catch myself. So, yeah,
Shout out
not
to
taking
Kyle
DT.
for reminding you on that.
Thank you. He's a lovely partner. Shout out to him.
Mhm.
All right, last one. This is going to be the deepest one. Expectations are out.
Oh.
Okay, I need not be worried about expectations and then be disappointed. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna like live life, to your point, say yes to things. And if things don't go a certain way, maybe it goes back to the perfectionism. If things don't go a certain way, it's okay. It's about the
Mhm.
journey. So this is kind of a full circle moment for me, with my outs is expectations are out.
'Cause what do they say? Like expectation minus reality equals disappointment. So
Probably
yeah,
true.
I definitely am a culprit of that too, having too many expectations.
Yes. All right, your turn.
Yeah, some of them are related to yours, and I love this growth here. So I am done with going above and beyond, and the extra mile is
Mm-hmm.
out, which relates to the perfectionism, right? So I've done that quite a few times for whether it's people in relationships that was not reciprocated, or even at work, and it just, you don't really get anything for it, to be honest.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna do enough. That's my goal.
Good.
Also impressing is out. That's related. So just I'm done with impressing. Just I want to be more present and I want to be more involved, but I want to care about like I care less about impressing
That's
people.
good. That means like you're more yourself. Like you're not trying to be a particular whatever. Like it'd be a different you or be a type of professional for your job or
Yeah.
it's just more who you are, which I love.
Exactly. And I think this is just part of my ongoing journey that I've had and like self-acceptance and all that. Just
Hmm.
be accepting who I am, and I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. So I think that's all related. Closure, I'm also done. That's out. I think closure is
Wait, in what
overrated.
way? Wait, tell me more.
Okay. Closure. So whether it can be in any like romantic relationship or friendship,
Hmm.
or whether it's in a work relationship, if you're not I used to be the person that always needed closure from the other person to feel
Hmm.
better about myself, or to like figure out is there something wrong with me, or is there something like am
Mm.
I not enough? And I think closure is overrated. Like you can only give closure to yourself, really. So when
Hmm.
something doesn't work out, you just it's there's no point in you chasing after some answers. I think it's just there is a lot of signs that are totally showing you that this was not a relationship that's served you or is not meant to be, and
Hmm.
chasing after whatever answer I think is not healthy. Easier said than done, but I'm done with that.
But I will say, like, I think that's very immature because I am working on accepting the fact that sometimes in life, some things don't work out just because of timing. Like, not because anybody needed a change or if somebody did something wrong. And this could be relationship, it could be job, it could be like friendship, whatever. But like, sometimes, like, some people come into your life for a period of time and then you had a great time. You like hung out with this friend, this person was your best friend. And then at some point, like, this person leaves your life because you're on a different stage of your life and like nobody did anything wrong in particular. I actually agree that closure is not always necessary.
Mhm. Right. And to your point, the timing I think is very much relevant. And yeah, but just to compare myself to like my younger self would have always needed some answers to in order
Right.
to move on. But sometimes you may not need that. It may just be a matter of timing.
Okay.
All right. Also, sorry, friends, but Christmas and holiday cards are out for me. I mean, I've never been the one sending them to begin with. I think this is an American thing. Like, I don't know if
Hmm.
in Chinese culture they do this, but I am, I just, I can't. I don't know. I don't, yes, it's okay. I sound like such
You're
a
saying
bitch
you hate
right now.
joy?
Just when I get the email, what's your address? I'm like, oh God, here we go again. No, and I sound like such a bitch. It's nice, of course, it's a nice thought. It's just not doing it for me. But it's okay. The thought counts, of course. Like I'd
Okay, all
rather just
right.
get it on a phone call with that person and see how they're doing.
But I like it when people put a description, like especially if they have kids, like, and then they'll tell you
Yeah.
like this kid now can speak, this kid now can do blah blah blah, or attended soccer and hated it or whatever. Those I do appreciate.
Okay.
So I almost, funny enough, put Christmas cards on my ins. So you'll be receiving one.
I'm warming up to the idea of having a some text
Sure.
message with it.
Okay.
So yes, if you want to send me one, please do. But I just want to like know something that I haven't figured out.
Okay.
And then my last one is group chats.
Ooh,
Oh,
controversial.
sounds so antisocial, but yeah, these are out. They're out. I can't. There's a group chat etiquette that people need to adhere by, and they don't. But these like massive group chats, they're out. I out for me at least.
How many group chats are you even in?
Yeah,
Like, why
sometimes
this
you don't get asked,
for
right? You just
you?
get thrown in, and then it's like
Right.
weird when you're the one left the group chat. Then people are like, "Why did you leave?" And then you have to explain yourself.
I just didn't want to be social with you guys. I want to be alone. Okay, I will say it group chats, I try not to be in too many. So I very much agree. It gives me a lot of anxiety. And I'm one of those crazy people that read all my texts. I have zero text at all time.
Yeah.
And sometimes group texts go off and there's like 50 messages. And I'm like,
Yeah, it's
guys,
stressful.
if you just need to say okay, just don't respond. That's another text for me to now read.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I get that. I get that.
All right, well, this was fun.
This is very fun. Um, I will be checking in. Yes. All right, shall we move on to our 5 skills?
I don't have five, by the way, but
Okay, way to not follow the instructions of the homework.
okay.
All right, well, I have 5. So I let me start first.
Mhm.
My number 1 is which this I will mention in the wellness episode, so everybody needs to tune in. But pre-event social anxiety, meaning like before I go to an activity, I get a lot of anxiety. Like even if it's people I know, like if it's people I don't know, I think that warrants a little bit of anxiety. You're like, oh, who am I gonna hang out with? But even if it's like friends that I know and love hanging out with, I get a lot of anxiety. And
Mhm.
I don't know why. And even bigger events where like I'm not necessarily the center of attention or anything. Like if it's somebody else's party, somebody else's I don't know, baby shower, whatever. I still get a lot of
Mhm.
anxiety. And I found that sometimes I talk myself out of events or things or get-togethers because I'm just so anxious. And this is something I'm working on with my therapist. So, one of the skills that I hope to develop is working on not having pre-event social anxiety. Saying no and not getting guilt tripped.
Mm.
I am very bad at that. I support you in all your saying yes year. But for me, maybe mine is saying no to dreams. But mine is saying no
Oh.
because I get guilt tripped so much. And I feel like people kind of know that they can guilt trip me. And so a lot of times I find myself saying yes to things because people are like, oh, like, but you're so good at it. And you should do this because you've always done this. Why are you not doing this year? And I'm like, bitch, I just don't want to this year. But then I end up
Yeah.
doing it because, I'm getting talked into it. So,
But I think
I
there's a
need to
big
start saying no.
difference, which you touched on here. Like saying yes, I just want to, if I'm saying no because out of fear, I think that's what I'm trying to redirect. I want to say
Right.
yes to more things because I just act out of fear, like, oh my God, I can't do it. But to your point, it is important to set boundaries and say no to the things that you just feel like your body is telling you it's not a good thing. And it's just because other people are telling you to do it.
That's true because my number 1 and number 2 kind of clash with each other.
So
My
yeah, both
my
can be
number
true at the same time. It's like, what's the motive, I guess.
yes. And things that I enjoy doing, I need to be better at saying yes and not be afraid of it. And then things that I genuinely don't want to do, I need to be able to say no.
Yeah, yeah.
Listening and digesting before speaking. Um I
Mm.
find, and even actually to apply to the context of the podcast, a lot of times when we have guests and they're saying something that I'm really resonating with, like I find myself very eager to speak and to like add on to what they're saying and kind of like riff. But then I'm like, they've already covered it very well. It doesn't require me to add any more. So let
Mhm.
me just work on getting better at listening, digesting before speaking, or being okay with not speaking in certain
Mhm.
situations.
That's great. Yeah.
My 4 and 5 are kind of related. Four is working on storytelling. Um, for folks who I don't know, I travel a ton, and a lot of times I like to document my travel with like videos or sometimes even putting them on YouTube. And I learned that like storytelling is so important, being able to tell a very concise but effective story. So not only for like my hobby and interest, storytelling is very important, but also like at work, it's really important to be able to like tell your story or convince people to get on board with something. You need to like be able to tell that story. So, the ability to tell stories more effectively is a skill I want to work on. And
Mhm.
then to add on to that, my last skill is telling stories visually. Um, to go back to the travel and documentation side of things, I find myself every time I travel to like document everything and everywhere I go. But then I'm realizing as I'm editing some of these videos, like I'm not actually putting every single thing in there. So what are things that are worth documenting? What are pictures that I should be taking to like remember the experience?
Nice. Well, as you were speaking, I added in two more. So
Okay.
now I got five. So, somewhat related, I really want to get better at video content overall, which includes producing and editing. Now that we're in season three, we
Mhm.
are taking it to another level and we are adding video, but I'm not familiar with how that all works. So, I really want to get better at that, take some courses and master sort of the production element and the editing.
Mhm.
And I'm also launching a food Instagram, TikTok with Paige, my friend Paige, in
Ooh.
March, which also this will help me be better at that because it's
Mhm.
one thing to cook because I love cooking, right? But then how do you document it? And to your point, make it visually appealing. So
Right.
yeah, we should talk later. Um, Canva is related. Like Canva is a great design tool, and I just want to understand how to better use it and also potentially use it for the food blog.
All right.
And then environmentalism is something that I'm really invested in this year. I'm going on this wildlife conservation trip. And yeah, once I've gone there, I'd love to share back on where's the line if people are interested. But just working with animals and just listening to animals, understanding their language, and yeah, like how do we give back to the environment and learning from some of the best. So yeah,
Is
that
there is there a particular like component of environmentalism that you're most interested in? Like you mentioned animals, and then even earlier you were talking about like plastic. Is there a particular area or more just like generally wanting to know more and like be more involved?
yeah, it's a good question. This first trip will be about animals, so I'm focusing on animals first. But the people that lead this workshop in Baja California are very versed with generally like in the environment and how to reduce the plastic and how to just yeah save the planet
Hmm.
and fight against deforestation. One of the guys is like really big into increasing the or making sure the caribou population won't be eliminated in Canada. Because if they get reduced, then there's more deforestation. So there's like a whole cycle, of course. And I'm just scratching the surface here. So I'll start with animals and then see what else I can do or be involved in.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and then from a more professional standpoint, so I've been doing talent intelligence for a while. For those of you that don't know, it's a type of business intelligence. It's storytelling with data, with people data, basically. But one area that I now want to also gain more knowledge in is UX research. Ultimately, I see a lot of parallels with talent intelligence because it's data analysis, both quantitative and qualitative, looking at statistical data, but then marrying it with primary intelligence, like interviewing people. So having the quant and the qual, and then
Hmm.
finding the insight within that. So, and UX research has a ton of, yeah, parallels with that. So I'm learning some skills there as we speak, just the foundations and some of the modeling there. And then lastly, yes, so Jane, not to copy you, but even one of the episodes that are being released here, I think she mentioned it really well, like the whole notion of listening to reflect versus listening to respond. And that just sits with me because it's also I'm a culprit of where I listen, but then I want to jump in because I just want to get my
Mhm.
point across, but really pausing and truly listening.
Love that. I'm super excited. And I hope that we can hold each other accountable and also
Yeah.
share the things that we're learning because some of these things like storytelling, design, video editing, like a lot of that is actually relevant to the things that we're working on. So,
Mhm.
very excited about that. Amazing. All right. Well, are we ready to move on to our last, our one nonprofit to to promote?
Yes.
Um, okay, clearly it seems like you again have not followed the rules of the game. And you gave two. So, all right, well, you're
I
gonna
just
have to pick
couldn't
one.
pick.
All right,
Well,
fine.
okay. Well, let me just, yeah, quickly. The second one, the Nakavi project is the one that I'm going on this trip with, which
Mm-hmm.
is they have their mission to conserve critical ecosystems and species by engaging with in communities and promoting sustainable solutions, specifically in the Baja region, so Baja California.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it'll be a lot of saving animals, working with them, educating the public, and just driving more sustainable ecotourism in the region.
All right, well, mine is St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I feel like many people probably have heard of this organization, but they are a pediatric treatment and research facility, really focusing on catastrophic diseases, but they're very well known for cancer research, like particularly leukemia. Uh, some fun facts that I found, which I actually think is very compelling, and it's just incredible to see um, the work that they do. But treatments that were developed in St. Jude have helped push the childhood cancer survival rate from 20% to 80% since they've opened, which is incredible and such a significant increase.
Mhm.
And St. Jude freely shares its research and treatment protocols with the global medical community, which for us, like I often, hear about pharmaceutical companies um, patenting and keeping information to themselves because, it does make money, right? Treatments and medical care brings a lot of money in for the United States and for these companies. And so it's always very frustrating for me to see places kind of control that information. And that's what I love about St. Jude because by sharing their research results and treatment protocol, it really helps all of us advance together when it comes to cancer treatment.
Makes sense.
St. Jude is unique also in that it operates on the principle that no family should ever receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food. And this really allows the family to really just focus on the children's care without any financial burden. This really stuck out to me because it's just so rare in the US health system. Like most of our audience probably resides in the United States. So you all probably know how important it is to have health care here. Otherwise, you would be in a lot of trouble if you were to get sick. And for some of these families, they're underprivileged, but even for families that could afford care, it's a huge, huge burden on top of the emotional burden that they're already dealing with for taking care of their children. So
Yeah.
overall for me, this organization really makes an impact on like both the child's life but also the families. And it's just an important organization that I've donated to for the last couple years, so hopefully other folks will explore it as well.
Love that. Yeah, so critical. And I remember St. Jude from Chicago.
Yeah.
Great organization. Yeah, and then my other one is just more local as well. So Jane is in Chicago, I'm in Minnesota, and Loaves and Fishes is a organization whose mission is to serve free and healthy meals to Minnesotans where the need is the greatest, especially in this winter time in the Midwest. It's just so sad. There's so many homeless people. And
Mhm.
so they really want to help people, despite their socioeconomic, cultural, religious, or ethnic backgrounds, to meet basic needs like food. And I'm gonna be cooking for them tomorrow in like a shelter, so it'll be interesting.
Nice.
Mhm.
I do love, and this is why I really wanted you to share this second one, even though you didn't follow the rules. I love local organizations. Like I mentioned St. Jude, it's such a big organization. A lot of times I feel that it's very intangible. Like when you donate, say, money, a lot of times people don't know where that money goes,
Mhm.
particularly with bigger organizations. But I think I'm a big fan of local organizations as well because a lot of times like you see where your money goes, you see the result, you can really get hands-on. Like to your point, you can like literally donate your time and your
Mhm.
skills to this organization, and it's always so moving to be able to like hand a meal to somebody and to like
Yeah.
see their reaction and to hear their stories. And oftentimes with bigger organizations, you may not be able to get that more tangible experience. So I'm glad that you're sharing that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and that's exactly why I'm excited about it. Just seeing it in action. But yeah, so thank you, Jane, for all of this. And just, I know you're gonna close us out, but for our listeners too, we would love to hear from you all what nonprofits you're working with or supporting, and we'll put ours in the description also. But always love to hear from others,
Yes.
where they're how they're giving back. This is Jane and I's big thing always. I mean, we bonded over a fundraiser when
Right.
we ideated on this podcast. So yeah, excited to hear what our listeners are supporting too.
Yes. Let us know the nonprofit that you want to support, whether it's with your money or your time this year. And of course, continue to let us know if there are any podcast episode ideas, guests you want on the podcast. We always welcome and want to hear from you. Please reach out to us at whereisthelinepod@gmail.com. And like Sabrina mentioned in the beginning of the episode, we always appreciate it when you can subscribe and support us on Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We're so excited for season 3. We'll talk to you
Woo!
later.
Thank you.
Bye.